This month, in about 3 weeks or so, the latest Star Wars movie is coming out. And I really can't blame you if you didn't know that. Everything about the build-up to the Mandalorian and Grogu just feels very low-key. And I think this speaks to the fact that this is a cinematic adaptation of a TV series. It's my theory that in this case, it might work against the film that it's based on a TV show because it could be perceived by casual fans and casual audiences as basically just a 2-hour episode of the Mandalorian TV show, but just shown in the cinema. And so some people will feel that it's not exactly worth paying to see. And sure, there is some interest in seeing it, but it could be that many people are happy to wait to see it on streaming, because they watched the Mandalorian TV show from the comfort of their couch anyway. So what's going to be so different about this film that's going to excite them to rush to see the movie in theaters? Well, from a box office perspective, it's looking not great for this film, if I'm honest. Considering this is a Star Wars movie, I've talked about this before, but we have more news now about this film's box office expectations. This article is from The Hollywood Reporter. Box office, Mandalorian and Grogu tracking for $80 million launch. $80 million. Just so you know, that's less than Solo: A Star Wars Story. Solo made $84 million on its opening domestic weekend. If The Mandalorian and Grogu makes less than Solo on its opening, it will be the lowest opening domestic weekend at the box office in the history of the Star Wars movie franchise. It says, if pre-release tracking is right, the Jon Favreau-directed movie, a continuation of his Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian, will open in the $80 million range at the domestic box office over the long 4-day Memorial Day weekend, according to sources with access to the data. That's in line with expectations from Lucasfilm and Disney, according to insiders. But think about that. A Star Wars movie making that kind of money on its opening. I mean, what does that really say about the final box office expectations for the film? The marketing campaign for Mandalorian and Grogu will go into overdrive on May the 4th, the unofficial Star Wars holiday. Among other offerings, Lucasfilm will show 25 minutes of footage of The Mandalorian and Grogu in select IMAX theaters across the globe. Now, to try to balance what I'm saying here, while the box office expectations for this film look modest, the budget is a good deal lower than Solo. Solo had production issues, and it went over budget. It actually cost over $300 million to make that film in the end. Most of Solo: A Star Wars Story had to be reshot. The directors, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, were fired, and Ron Howard was brought in to complete the film. So because he had to reshoot so much, that's the reason the budget for Solo ballooned. Solo would ultimately go on to become a box office failure. By comparison, The Mandalorian and Grogu's production budget is about $166 million. Basically about half of what Solo's production budget was. But that doesn't take into account the film's marketing budget. Ultimately, even with a budget of under $200 million, the idea of a Star Wars movie opening to a domestic weekend of only $80 million doesn't look good, especially when you consider where the franchise was when interest was at its peak. As per Box Office Mojo here, The Force Awakens made $247 million on its opening domestic weekend back in 2015. Even the final film in that trilogy, 2019's Rise of Skywalker, made $177 million on its domestic opening. So yeah, $80 million for The Mandalorian and Grogu is a major step back. This is not financial growth for the franchise. This is contraction. This is a lowering of expectations for Star Wars, a franchise that was once absolutely bulletproof. For that reason, and because this film seems to lack the same kind of hype and enthusiasm that Star Wars films used to get, I don't think this looks good, and I would not be surprised if the film is not profitable at the box office. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Dave Cullen Show. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.